notable. But before we get a little bit more into that, we want to also congratulate and thank all the other teams participating here. But unfortunately, this is M2. Champions are built off of those broken dreams. So, who is it going to be? I mean, speaking of this little bit of a mix-up coming in from RRQ here, is this going to be the secret sauce to take BREN out?
Well, as the panel said earlier, there is this thing about you. You studied for Sin. You studied for Lemon. But what they do is they throw a curveball and they give you Whiz King and Sin. Now, I think the thing is, Albert is the explosive one, while Sin is the consistent, stable one that is really reliable when things get tough.
You know, speaking of reliable, tough, and the person who maintains that competitive integrity, Christina Ung, thank you so much for being our head marshal here today. As we're going to be calling off the coaches onto stages, the men who make these boys into something more than themselves. It's going to be James on the left with Ducky on the right, representing both of them here, all having really interesting starts. James actually playing in Indonesia before slowly moving into that coach role. And Ducky, time and time again, he has proven that he is a reliable coach in the Filipino scene.
Ducky here is super intelligent. So is the same for RRQ's James, but there's one thing I know about Ducky is he's super disciplined. That's his thing. If you talk to him, you know that on top of all of this in-game knowledge and skill, what he really cares about is attitude and how his players feel and react to certain things. On the other end of the spectrum, what really strikes me about James is how creative this man is. The mere fact that he's able to shuffle around these four players, Lemon, Albert, Sin, and Whiz King, it just shows that some way, somehow, he's like an artist, picking the right tool for the right job, and he's digging deep into the arsenal of RRQ Hoshi here to really prove that they still are the King of Kings.
Yeah, and of course you do need a very experienced side for that, and well, we definitely want to see the lineup for RRQ. As we did mention, this time with Sin coming in, he is definitely a multi-role player, so does this change the dynamics of RRQ in general?
I think absolutely, because Sin has a lot of experience coming in here, and again, a lot of these players have been sticking together, and they want an M1 run where they were so close to becoming crowned the world champions.
Yeah, let's just say that Whiz King is kind of the main specialist on the side lane, but right now we do have BREN. Rebo, Cartesi, Pew, Lusty, and Clap. Nothing has changed. It's still the same lineup as day number 1 here in Singapore.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they've been really consistent. Yeah. I can't argue with the consistency of these teams. They've had their ups and they have their downs, but now is their time to shine. What are some of the elements that we should be focusing on for this team to really succeed?
I think, as proven by their grueling series yesterday against Alter, you have to really focus on the big three, the middle, right? I'm talking about the middle lane, that's the jungler, that's the mid-mage, and that's the tank. And if you can lock this down, if these three are solid, then I think BREN Esports is going to have a good go. But with this whole shuffle with RRQ Hoshi, even all of our studies, even all our preparations go out the window because it really does throw a wrench in even Coach Ducky's plans.
I mean, this is one of those meta questions that we have to ask here, because in that grueling match yesterday, we did see a lot of priorities going over to Selena and as well as Trill being the two big playmakers for that team. Although extremely difficult to execute, but once they're able to pop off, they just kind of pop off. But what do you think? What are some of your thoughts, Contra, about that consistency and high mechanical skill cap?
Well, definitely when it comes to the high mechanical ceiling, all these players on stage definitely has a really good take on these specific heroes that they are playing. But when it comes down to really key moments out there, you really want to make sure that you get something that's really simple to execute. And with that, BREN Esports, they see like Alter Ego, and they also know to do exactly the same. They are pretty much of the similar draft and the match win back the game for that time. But going in towards game number 3 itself, that's where things got really interesting.
Interesting indeed. But you know what's more interesting? It's going to be the M2 exclusive skin, the Clint Shadow Omen skin. You can obtain this skin if you complete the task and predict the champions to win M2 points and exchange those M2 points for M2 exclusive rewards, including, but not least, the M2 special avatar border, the exclusive skin, as mentioned as before, the battle emote, the sacred statue as well, or you can get the exclusive directly 800 diamonds. The event is happening right now, 24th of January, so please do not miss out. And if you have 40 more seconds, quickly go buy that skin and come back to catch this game.
Yeah, going back, I have a read on what RRQ is trying to do.
Oh, really?
BREN esports, they're kind of like for me in a sense that they really like to go for those first, the first hurdle of the game. And when RRQ met up,
40 more seconds, quickly go buy that skin and come back to catch this game.
yeah. They've always just had problems taking that very first hurdle on their side. Now, it's probably because of the hero pool of certain players that just came out for them. I think for RRQ, Sin and Weez King could be more aggressive and more stable in the early game for their side.
What do you think about this there? I mean, early game here of the Vendetta coming in from BREN's side and Yi Shin as well from RRQ Hoshi. Is this going to skew themselves to, again, these big playmakers like Selena that just got banned?
Yeah, I think I'll agree because the draft itself, the first bans, will also support that theory, that hypothesis, if you will, is because a lot of BREN's wins, they snowball. A lot of BREN's wins, they just start strong, hit the ground running, and that's essentially what these two draft bans, Yushin and Selena, will say. And for BREN Esports, what they can do here is just respect what the current meta dictates and then roll with the punches, given that they are on the red side, Brody taken out.
Just to recall some of the matches that RRQ Hoshi has gone through, remember it was by the team itself. They definitely have interesting dynamics, but like one was being pulled up. We're talking about that early game scuffle for that first hurdle. This is some department that, of course, RRQ Hoshi is already intending to work on, especially when their goal is to actually set up for the late game. So definitely, BREN Esports can look to punish them with those sort of picks, but we've already got all these bans coming in. What are your thoughts, Gideon?
I'm thinking... Okay, so here's what's on the table. Matilda's on the table, Jawhead's on the table, both really strong first picks for either side. And since Benedetta isn't there, I would lean towards one of the two. But we've seen this change up quite a number of times, right, Butters?
Yeah, RRQ Hoshi, they're just one team that I'm actually surprised that they banned out the Selena first. Because usually for the other teams, they just go for these certain templated bans for the tournament meta. Matilda will be their first pick, while for the side of BREN Esports, they just go straight for the usual.
Oh, and
Yeah.
and,
And I like this because they're giving priority to Lusty. Just because you are giving priority to Lusty, he isn't forced to pick something weird or something that is not going to be the best or something that is heavily countered on the side of RRQ Hoshi.
what else this draft says is that BREN Esports are still reading what RRQ Hoshi is doing, right? By picking up the usual on Flaptizi, you're playing a safe hero, and then also by picking the Sylvan already, you're still opening up the fact that this might be for few. This might also be for Lusty. Lapu-Lapu and Claude picked up by RRQ Hoshi. Nothing too crazy just yet. James is still sticking to what the metagame dictates is right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this sort of pick coming in towards phase 1 here, which is relatively safe for RRQ Hoshi. But diving in towards phase 2, of course, they've already got their hands on Lancelot for the side of BREN Esports, which is what we have seen what they can do back and towards that match against Alter Ego.
I actually think that BREN Esports is not even trying to read into what RRQ Hoshi wants to do. It's just that they are successful in these heroes. Like Wolf said earlier, they don't have a huge hero pool of heroes that they win with. I mean, these are just heroes that they want to play, and they're comfortable with this. RRQ Hoshi, no matter what they bring out, this is going to be the setup for BREN Esports that's gonna work.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Well, it is, and knowing BREN Esports, we just have to accept the fact that they need to be a little bit more creative in terms of this. But for this Lancelot, this Yuzhong, this Silvana, they're safe with this.
Yeah, and now coming into the second phase, they're going to get rid of the Loyi as well as the Harith here. Both very important wave clearers, and more importantly, especially for that damage, but they're not going to have too much lane priority, which I think even BREN realizes, all right, we don't want our side lanes to get punished because we have seen, you know, things like Harith show up into the side lane, things like Lunox and Farsa show up into the side lane as well.
I definitely think the both heroes that you mentioned is going to be pretty much contributing to a big factor, but you got to find a way to answer this Lancelot, which nobody has been able to stop Maltese at it, and where's all the lockdowns that we need? Like, certainly Eagle's definitely not going to be enough, and with that, we definitely see the Cho being axed up just to make sure that nobody catches him with the way of Dragon.
I like the Cho pick just because it's the only available, it's one of the options here for RRQ Hoshi to just lock down that Lance. I actually agree with Contra, just looking at how the first three picks here for the side of RRQ Hoshi is set, they do not have an answer for the Lancelot as of now.
Draw's not enough?
Joy is telegraphed. Like, you see,
it's the choice that's left.
yeah,
There's no hero for second.
there is, but having that certain unstoppable force ejector, you can see it coming from a mile away.
Well, you have the combo, you have the certain eagle, and yeah, BREN Esports, they're not even shy about it. This is definitely going to be dog. Basically thinking because this quad can still get the gold laner.
Yeah, it still can. It's pretty flexible in that sense. And I think, you know, even BREN now picking up the Alice as well as the Yuzong, they realize no matter what we pick at this point, even if we do get the 1-1, it's a little too late. And if we want to dominate the lane, it might not necessarily work out anyway. So you might as well get relatively safe laner. And if RRQ decide to go for a double monster composition, that's even better for us with our assassin. On top of the fact that we have some great pick potential and some really powerful scaling for that late game.
Sin and Vin, they're like brothers and they rhyme. Their names rhyme.
Same goes to Maltese as well as Latine.
Yeah.
Right? So,
It's a connection, it's a combination.
yeah.
All
and
right.
Interesting enough, you bring in the Kai again. This is something that was being introduced back in their best of 5 against Burmese Goals, but here comes Lunox, which wasn't banned away. So there's a lot of damage output coming in from both, you know, the AD side of things as well as Magic. Wow, I'm liking what I'm seeing from BREN Esports.
It's going to be tough for Psycho to lock people down, but when he does, boy, is it sweet.
I suppose. I definitely suppose here, but I think RRQ, they've got a much stronger early game in comparison to BREN. So as long as BREN, they basically want to play the early game a little bit more passive, just focus on clearing the waves and focus on, you know, if they have to give up certain things on the invade, they just kind of have to here. They don't have a choice. Matilda is really going to be a problem for that. But at level 4, BREN's going to have a huge swing into their favor because they're very ultimate dependent.
Yeah, I like BREN Esports draft as well, but you really have to give props to that Akai pick from the side of RRQ Hoshi. You might not have the catch, that solo single target catch, but you can destroy or you can cancel his combination. And that is the thing for the Lancelot. Just don't let him burst out deep.
Well, I think it is time to get into the game. This is game 1. Let's roll into the land of dawn for our semifinals matchup at M2. Boys, take it away.
Well, of course, all eyes is going to be on Sin as he will be the one that will be taking over Alpha. But just look and view, already getting his health taken down low.
Not even going to be polite about it, just, yeah, you come into our range, we will knock you down a peg. You already less than half health, not even a minute into the game. Looking at the lanes, it's R7 and the Lapu-Lapu facing off against Rebo in the gold lane. Up top, it's Flap Teasy versus Wiz King, so there's a little switcheroo being showed here by RRQ Hoshi. Again, you're never really sure what James is thinking.
Now, onto the middle lane, this is a normal matchup. Few knows that he will get harassed a lot here as long as he doesn't have his level 4. And as you can see, the damage output of the Matilda is just way too high. But it's okay because Few is the one getting damage, not Carltizi.
Yeah, of course, if we do see Altisi, though, trying to actually go for the little wander here, and Imole backs away, understanding that Sin as well as Ben, they could actually pull off some significant damages now that he does have the double belt buff as well. So a little bit of push and shove coming from both ends. BREN Esports, they cannot force any issue.
Yep, as Gideon said, Brenny's just waiting for the level 4, and that's when they go ahead and put it into high gear. That's when things get to start. That's when it becomes more interesting. Right now, Turtle is coming up about 10 seconds from now in the top lane. This is Wiz King and Vin waiting to find someone, catching them off guard, and now Karthik is clearing the wave alongside the rest of these mid laners, preparing for the first turtle take.
And speaking of which, we can definitely see that RQ is in the prime position to be able to get that challenge in. And for Lusty, is keeping an eye out, and here comes Psycho.
Lusty is using the brushes well, but RRQ, they are going for the Lord next, and this is going to be tricky for them because the Lancelot is on the other side.
Nice dash on the few first blood drawn by Shin, and there's no counter go. That's going to be the Rampaging Sandstorm. Lusty bites it, Flap easy. He's a little too low. Oh, not even a trade. They do get one. It's Vin, but it's 3 on the side of RQ Hoshi. 7.3 to 6.7. Oh, already a 500 gold lead.
That was the perfect timing for RQ Hoshi to pick a fight. Why? Because Carltizi's orange buff expired. He doesn't have the extra damage to help their side, and now BREN Esports have to bow out from that certain fight.
Yeah, and you got to give it to Sin on his perfect position as well. He managed to get 2 kills out of that effort. And those pickoffs out there has been able to just deny a little bit more time for the rest of the BREN Esports side. Of course, comes in with some big plays later on, but offensive execution, stuff like that being brought up. The Wanderer secure, but all eyes are still on Turtle once again, but something's happening down here.
Yeah, no, I think Rebo understands that he can rotate much faster than R7. So that means he doesn't have to miss a wave, and then he can be part of the team fight. Now, Turtle take going on here. Lusty looking for a target. He does have his Imperial Justice on cooldown. That's going to be called easy take in the first Turtle. Down goes Lusty. Vin gets him down. Oh, that's going to be another takedown. Few gets eliminated. 2 for none. Is it worth the Turtle?
What a pincer attack coming in from both sides. RQ Hoshi, they just rushed right in and got BREN Esports members all caught out. And I definitely like what they are doing with the Kai, just having the Hurricane Dance in perfect position.
Now, team fight for BREN here is going to be really tough, but as long as they do not give as much turrets as possible, it's going to be great. Psycho will be the first target, and he will go down. Wiz King here is getting chased down, but Sin is there to help his ally, and that's going to be Flap. But BREN, they
Wait
went
a
for
minute.
this.
It seems like Fuel will be bursted down, but it won't be. The order will be popped right in. Whiskey does get that double for that time. Great exchange coming from RRQ. Carltizi tries to take the buff away, and Finn, he tries to move right in first position, catching on towards Lusty, but Carltizi, how far can he run with a mega kill coming from Whiskey?
That was a very risky play coming out from BREN Esports. Carl just wanted to take that purple buff from Sin, but RRQ Hoshi was on top of it.
Yeah, and definitely a great timing on that circling eagle itself. Now 8-3, but the goal difference is not going to be too huge in the early phase of the game. 3 more seconds till the next objective. Well, I definitely see that right now. Members inside of BREN Esports, they're trying to pull the trigger on a very difficult position, and that definitely didn't pay any dividend at all.
Now, looking at it, this is the roster lineup here for RQ Hoshi that really has the much aggressive early game. They go for those turtles. When BREN Esports, they're kind of caught off guard here.
Yep, here we go. Blazing Duet by Sin. He gets out of there. Battle Mirror Image. Did he steal it? I think he did. Carltizi is without his purple. And now second turtle comes up. I think the fact that RRQ Hoshi is just more comfortable with just giving up the turtle to get beneficial trades is dangerous for BREN ESPORTS.
Yeah, right now the turtle is going to be the main target for both of these teams. BREN Esports really want that. RRQ does not want to give that to them. Psycho with the petrify. Oh my goodness. Lusty just goes down.
Not a good look for Lusty so far, and without that Imperial Justice, whether it be because it's on cooldown, or whether it's because they catch him like that, not even blinking. Oh no, Flapdeezy gets a barrage of bullets from Shin, and that's going to be Vin putting the nail in the coffin for Flapdeezy. It's looking tough for BREN Sports. 6 minutes, 45 seconds in, Dokribo tries to go for a push. That's going to be R7 not able to save the turret. In comes Psycho.
And first blood already being popped up as they will be able to match this pretty much safely. I don't really like the sort of exchange that they had back towards the turtle pit, and this is where things get a little bit rowdy with the rest of RQ. Hoshi moving right back in, chasing on towards Rainbow as he tries to make an escape, but how long can he last? As you can see, R7 has already got members right behind him, and Sid might just actually get this one coming.
Now, Reba's just trying to scale at the bottom lane, but the problem is RRQ Hoshi just control the top lane, and now the next target for them is going to be in this bottom lane. They want to get this before the 60 seconds passes, so that they can set up to the top lane and get the next objective there. A turtle probably, but RQ Hoshi has their sights set on just controlling every single side of the map.
Oh, Lusty tries to put a bead on to R7, misses it. Phantom Execution still online. They're going to use it for a dash. Not enough. Sin finds you, and Flapdeezy uses Black Dragon form to retreat. Lusty survives, but only for now, as well as Flapdeezy. That's -1. Carl finally shut down here. No longer a thorn on the side of RRQ Hoshi. They push mid. That's going to be open. And Butters, as you were saying, it's a diversion play. And they just got a free turret along the way. It's a drive-through, right? They're giving BREN Esports so many problems so that whenever RQ Hoshi goes for an objective, there's just no answer because they're trying to, plug these holes in the sinking ship.
The playing prowess or the playmaking prowess of Psycho is just showing right here. The amount of pressure, the amount of worry that he puts on BREN Esports' shoulder, it's just too much to bear for them, and they break down the pressure to the early game.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that RQ's plan when they immediately lock in that class is what they were hoping for in the best case of things, and they've already got 5 kills on towards this clock, and he's pretty much hard to catch in that sort of moment. Now, a little bit of setup here coming from Psycho as he's looking for a good one, and there we go.
This is going to be the choke. They're going for the purple, and look at the life bars melting at the feet of Sin. That's a double. They take one on the backswing, but what is R7 for 4 members of BREN Esports? What is R7? It is all worth it. The siege begins right here. They want to penetrate, not even 10 minutes in.
Yeah, there's only a couple of all these members that will be coming up online in the form of Lusty as well as Flapdeezy in a couple of seconds here. But they've already lost way too many towers, and I definitely think that RQ Hoshi, they take too much control, all in the span of less than even 10 minutes. Let's check out the item, shall we? Butters, we're already seeing a great build coming out of RQ.
Now, if you would look at it, Sin here went for the brute force breastplate. That is going to be good defense against the Lancelot. Now, Lancelot isn't at the best position right now just because he has the Heptasis, but no endless battle, no blade of despair. And Queen's Wings for Flapdeezy, he doesn't have the extra firepower, he doesn't have the skill vamp to just back up that tankiness that he has. Although for few, we're seeing a bit of progression here. Enchanted Talisman to the necklace, Durans, been getting a bit of Durance as well, and at the same time, he does have that casual Dreadnought armor just to protect himself from Kartizi.
So far what I'm seeing is Sin and Bin, say what you will about their names rhyming, but they both understand that they have to somehow go in. This is 2 heroes that usually don't have to go dive in, but speaking of dive, that's going to be the Order of Brilliance popped in here by Few. RRQ just to survive. Rebo with the blood flow coming in. And here's a Black Dagger form. Flapped easy. He can smell blood. But I think RRQ Hoshi is setting something up from the left side. Whisking. I think he's looking for it. There's the Rampaging Sandstorm. Oh, they sense the Lartek. Can't easy take it down here. Sin is now godlike. There's the Blazing the Wet. Lusty's gonna be next. Whisking puts him in. Down under the ground. 6 feet. 2 for none. Plus the Lord. RRQ Hoshi is ripe for the finish.
They fished him out, and with that, they initially went in popping the Order of Brilliance, and Blue Ducks already using the ultimate. They could not possibly go into cross anywhere near towards the Lord, but here comes RRQ. They've already got the Lord taken out, and they are going straight to finish up game number 1, but there's going to be a defense coming in from the side of BREN Esports. They tried to hold on. Rainbow with the blood. Oh, he flickers away, but look at R7. He's chasing right in as well, but he will give his life for it. BREN Esports is slowly going down, and game 1 is in the hands of the Indonesian side, RRQ Hoshi.
And you saw how aggressive they were in terms of just getting that first turtle on their side. RRQ Hoshi, I think my thoughts were right. This is their early game lineup in terms of players.
Near flawless. It's like Whisking and Sin were playing all throughout day 1 and 2. This is what it looks like for RRQ.
I mean, honestly, they have been one of the more veteran players coming in for the side of RRQ for a large majority of the roster as well. They have been there for a while, and I think that makes a significant difference when it comes to just decision making. Some of these more reliable things that they've been pulling off time and time and again.
Yeah, I definitely think that it looks a lot more clear than what we saw in the upper bracket ones for the side of RRQ. And they took the time to hear words at the same time. Same through the route that they do take.
Justice! Honest!
You gotta make sure that they catch and roll that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from here. Okay, so give or take, I think RRQ was prepared to lose the Silvana, or arguably flex the show. So I think it's time as we get into the game to figure out this conclusion as we move on into game 2. Please, Butters, Contra, as well as Leo, go for it. Cast this game. Give us some color.
Here we go. BREN Esports versus RRQ Hoshi. If Butters was right, if the pacing for BREN Esports actually is beneficial, that they learn a little bit from game number 1, we'll see. This should be the litmus test for that. Now, Leslie reaching a bit for Carl. This is a quick purple. I think this just allows Carl to be able to move out a little faster, get that BMI, and get that extra little bit of damage and mobility. And then moving on, that's also the purple. Oh, no, orange first. Orange first here for Sin.
Pretty interesting start as we are already seeing a little bit of contest moving over on towards Little Wanderer. And okay, I guess we're going to be staring at them having a chance of that.
It makes a lot of sense to just go for the orange first for the lane. Just because you want to be a bit faster than Blood. Not necessarily, but you just want to use your superior mobility to just clear the waves and just find the pick up, just get your level 4, go to another lane. The Blood will think, should I go there or should I just farm? Because that's the thing. The Tempest of Blades is a good way to control people as well and take down people in the process. But looking at the side lanes here for the side of BREN Esports, I think the lane will have a good time going back and forth with those side lanes as long as in terms of dueling their lanes win.
I feel like it was one of those situations where they're kind of, I wouldn't say preemptively doing it, just playing off the information. They had somebody going to the mid lane, they were going to, fast clear that double. They started onto towards the orange side because they can generally see, they started showing up, they started up into the mid lane, they quickly ran over to deal with their purple buff straight away. So at that whole moment, they say, okay, we can actually match you here. We're gonna start on our orange side, move over to our purple, and then contest for Little One River.
I just like how both teams are actually having exactly
the same time, same through the route that they do take. So it's all about, who gets one and then they can pull off the next 10 that are already back in towards our game. So to here. I really do wonder how will they shut down the Synth side because they only got Lusty, and if he uses Wave Dragon to catch either Harris or even to win, it's easier to first down, but Synth, you gotta make sure that you catch him real fast.
That's what he is for. That's what he is for. He is on the Sylvana, and I think he'll be a little more frugal when it comes to the Imperial Justice this time around, seeing how it didn't work out so well in game number 1. This gold lane matchup up top is also something interesting to note. Karen wins the early game compared to the Alice. Now Hugh spots one off. That's going to be Psycho right across the bush, and while the action isn't happening just yet, oh, nice arrow thrown out. Misses by a hair.
I just love it that BREN Esports took something from Kodak's book and they just put the Sylvana as a support. If you can do that, you're not limited into just those high damage dealing heroes. You can scale people there as well. Now with this Sylvana, they have the extra team fighting ability.
And speaking of which, it's going to be an arrow putting onwards view. It's going to be having his health a little bit, but Rebo, as much as he can, actually move across the map way quicker than the Aaron, but he's already down low. It's really hard for him to join in if they were to start the turtle from the side of RRQ Oshi, and we're just waiting for perhaps these guys to be prepared to make that rotation.
Yeah, between the two of them up top, Rebo here and the R7, obviously R7 has to telegraph what he's done. But Rebo, on the other hand, can rotate towards mid and then somehow help out if this turtle fight does break out. As you can see, it's Lusty just waiting here. That pixel push, that's going to be Zaman Force already committed. So Rebo can say, hey, no more Zaman Force. I think we move on, try to do something. And after this orange bump, we can expect something tomorrow.
And it's going to be going on recall, so you can directly walk straight into the turtle pit pretty much quickly. Now, a little bit of the potential for the golden crab, if you may call it. So, it'll be a lot of gold between Thor and Samson.
This is great for the side of BREN Esports. If you think about it, Vin hasn't been that hot into hitting those arrows. Even if he wasn't there, and Colonel Easy had a good 3 minutes. First 3 minutes were good for Colonel Easy. BREN Esports here is going for the turtle, and there is no contest. Up top, Rico will be the target.
First blood here by R7. Again, they're trading lives for turtles. Rebo taken out. That's going to be a huge move for Sin, the first kill of the game. Now, the goal gap isn't so big. This is how we saw it earlier on. And so far, the fact that Rebo stayed in the lane, and that's 3 members of our Yoshi that had to share the EXP and the gold up top, that's what led to this very, very small marginal gain on BREN Esports, but there's no conversion really.
Yeah, and Lamley side already in the hands of R7 after 1 kill in the back, but Psycho easily spotted out by 2. That's what nothing much is going to be happening between the two of them, but of course, Psycho has a very big duty coming in towards those team fights, and he's got to catch out Maltese, but look at just the layers of things that Maltese has reused replacing him.
Calamity Reaper is something that R7 can just utilize, and if they ever want to pick fights right now, this might be the time that they should go for it. And the upper turret doesn't have any more energy shields, I think. It was chipped down a bit by R7.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
And if ever they want to just go for this, their next objective, and Lusty here will be the first target for Vin that he hits.
Oh, Swift as the coursing river, and well, it does happen in the river, of course, and the rest of the members of RRQ, they're moving right in, trying to set things up against Ripple, but they catch on for few. Damage force, they popped out as he tries to run away, and he survives.
Now the urge coming up from RRQ Oshi, it seems like they're reading into BREN Esports' playbook. They know where the hell is BREN Esports gonna come from.
Yeah, it's easy, and I think for now our Yoshi will do that and try to make his goal gap a little smaller, because Carly's not there yet. Carly's not there. Oh, Flat Daisy gonna be coming in. There's the injector on the 1. Turtle taken in by the Ling. That's Sin helping out. Lusty destroyed. That's Whiz King taking him in. Psycho though from R7, ladies and gentlemen. They're all low, getting the kill nonetheless. Psycho just acting as a barricade. Chaldees in view can't do much. Wow, that was a total win. A wash for BREN ESPORTS. They couldn't get anything, and conversion through the roof. A turret. You want a turret with that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, quite a destruction that we've just witnessed over on towards the turtle side, and RRQ Hoshi has been able to also back a turret right down below, but I'm looking at the lack of responses coming in from BREN ESPORTS side as well. But we saw an early usage of the Blazing Duet on towards those minions itself. I don't think it's relatively worth it.
I think Chaldees just understands that he has to speed up the clear. Sure. He has to catch up, and they can see that the gold gap is growing. And if he's not joining fights, which I think he shouldn't, then yes, Blazing Duet, by all means, pull the trigger.
Now, I'm seeing BREN ESPORTS having a hard time. Well, that's obvious. But still, we haven't seen Chaldees with the Blazing Duet. And it just seems to me that RRQ Hoshi are picking their fights well. They fight in a time where Chaldees has his Blazing Duet down.
Yeah, again, it's just basic fundamentals now. Nice catch. Imperial Justice on a Psycho. Plus a down force by R7. A few shields gonna save him there. The Tempest of Blades. And Sin knocks down Chaldees. Oh, R7 barely survives. Chaldees pops him open. That's a double for Sin, though. Rebo gonna get away. Blood Ode keeping him alive, but how long Vin is still alive here. Chaldees. Shot energy, is it enough for him to take on two? Always King and Vin. Here comes Sin with the orange buff. It's gonna hurt. Oh, I think they disengage. They know that few can still deal a lot of damage.
Definitely have to disengage right there. It's a 2-for-2 trade, and it's still working out for sort of BREN ESPORTS. As at least they do have Chaldees here, and they are getting flanked from multiple directions. It's a killing spree coming in for Sin, and the next one to fall. It's going to be Sin that gets caught up. I think it's pretty okay with this catch.
Yeah, well, few still. The instinct to stay and know that I can out-sustain these members of RRQ Hoshi left. The spiral strangling keeps El Capitan alive enough to make sure that when Chaldees comes back, they can contest for this turtle. And, ooh, look at this down bottom.
Oh, yeah. Gives them enough space, and Carl gets hit by the arrow. Damage output!
That's gonna be Chaldees shut down. R7 takes the turtle. Zaman Force. There's enough shields in there to keep him alive. RRQ Hoshi shouting their lungs out. They know they won that all in.
This is the things that a Selena can do. It can hit your jungler in the middle of two people, and that's how impactful the speed is if done correctly.
Oh, you just look at Wiz King, and he does not even care how much you can put upon it, but Psycho is getting focused on, and they are already trying to get away to cut through the throats, and the Yuuzhan still gets away with that kill after expending that execute.
Oh, that was a beautiful execute. Full range, I believe, because Chaldees clicked it as he was exiting. Now, if only this was a Festival of Blood. I think he made the call. That was a calculated decision prior to the game. He picks killing spree so that he lasts longer in these fights. I'm wondering if he's kicking himself right now saying, oh, I could have gotten stacks. I could have gotten stacks.
Maybe he might just be.
But at that point on, RRQ Hoshi could have just let BREN ESPORTS go and try to go for another objective. But what do? They try to get as much kills as possible. Then Chaldees here is gonna have more time to just get his farm. There's no pressure for him. Lusty gets an Athena shield. They are slowly scaling up to that point where RRQ Hoshi, they might not have an answer for this Claude anymore.
Oh, here we go. Black Dragon form. Chaldees comes in. There's the Imperial just catches one. R7 decimated. And now underneath the turret, this fight is going to continue. They're going to trade out Lusty. Taken out by Psycho. It's tank-on-tank violence. I still call it supportal combat.
No.
Oh, down bottom. Sin with a split push. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a worthy trade.
That was way too sneaky coming from the side of RRQ. Yes, they did trade, and it's okay for R7 right there as they still managed to catch on for Lusty. Mid lane.
No, an ejector into the back. Tempest of Blades keeping him down. They're still alive. Chaldees, quite a few hits. Few able to help Chaldees survive, but only for so long because Chaldees is gonna bite it right here. It's only Few and Rebo. Lusty gonna be trying to come back. That's good. Blood Ode into the back lines, and Vin is getting once more, poking the front lines, and there's Diamond Force. Oh, you do best to disengage, and R7 gets one still.
And these are the fights where you can see the split decision making coming on from these teams. Carl TZ goes back and takes down Lake. Now, when they saw that, someone just jumped on Carl, took him down. The threat assessment here for both teams are so on point. They turn instantaneously if ever a high priority target is in front of them.
Yeah, as much. You just take the words right out of my mouth. They just appear and immediately they pull the trigger right there, just like how Rebo is getting chunked out. But trying to survive, but Rebo will still fall nonetheless. Now, RRQ should be able to see top side of the tier 1s, and the Lord is already out, but View already engaging, and Kaltizi gets caught out.
That's going to be the ejector into the Imperial Justice, resulting to not much. Tempest of Blade's going to want to start a little bit more trouble in the purple buff. Ready for this jungle is the hot zone. That's going to be one for Few, one for Flapteezy. At the double, though, Sin shut down by the half-dragon. Flapteezy here, he wants more. He smells blood. 2 for 2. I think that's as good as BREN ESPORTS can get.
Okay, so now that's a 2 for 2, but the advantage here for BREN ESPORTS is they have the retribution. They can get the Snort from trying to slow it up a bit, but Psycho and Whisking, they won't let that happen.
They're going to force the issue, and here comes Rebo. Psycho going to be going back. Oh, we have the dragon. Lassie says, get away from here, and the Lord is secured by BREN ESPORTS.
Just one slight mishap coming from the side of RRQ Hoshi has opened things up, and it all led to this. When they saw Sin was already out, immediately they called for it, especially, you know, having no retribution on the side of RRQ. And by the time Rebo come, RRQ says, okay, this is definitely not going to be our Lord. And oh boy, this might just be the biggest comeback coming towards game 2.
Butters, I have a question for you. 3 towers on RRQ Hoshi, but BREN ESPORTS got the Lord. Who won the trade?
Definitely BREN ESPORTS, because they are the ones who's gonna stall the game. Now, this is a Luminous Lord. This is something RRQ Hoshi needs to send 2 to 3 people for.
At least.
So that means the turrets on the side of RRQ Hoshi are bound to go down, and that is one turret immediately at the hands of BREN ESPORTS.
Guess what? They're even sending their own man upon it just to try to buy even more time, but here's
defensive Tempest of Blaze onto Sin. He is out of this fight for now. Another push in mid. I think that turret down bottom might be next. Nay, make it this one in mid. And right now, BREN ESPORTS, they're just taking as much time as they need to be able to secure the late game. Carl TZ, call him Mr. I Don't Sleep.
Now, Leo, Contra, this is where the jungle choke happens. You can see that BREN ESPORTS is scattering themselves all over the map. Contra, you were saying?
Yeah, it's all resources for the side of BREN ESPORTS right after securing that Lord. Not only that, you see so many layers that we saw coming from the side of RQ. Yeah, they want to go in for those picks every single time that they see BREN ESPORTS. They try to dive right at it. Just look at the goal lead right now swinging in favor of the side of BREN ESPORTS. Already 2.5. And, well, there's going to be a lot of money for them to buy all these items in.
I just want to check the items right now so that we have a bit of time. Oh, no. There's a fight happening.
Oh, no. Ejector started off. It's Few. That's going to be Tempest of Blaze. You know Sin feels it right now. Black Dragon forming here by Flapteezy. Oh, and Whisking gets blown to pieces. Ejector into the turret. Diamond Force right there. That's going to be the barricade. Down goes Whisking. Rebo gets the kill. And that's 1 for BREN.
I think this is the perfect time to just go for an item check. So let's see
Better
what
late than never.
the Claude has. Demon Hunter Sword. He has the Athena Shield up.
Check.
He has the Golden Staff
Check.
up. So the items here are not all damage items, but still it gives him a certain amount of protection. For Flap, it's going to be a Cursed Helmet, a Queen's Wings, and a Bloodless Axe, plus an Oracle, extra tankiness. Rebo here is almost at item lock. So we can expect a lot from him in the coming fights. R7, though, he has a Calamity Reaper, the Feather of Heaven, the Holy Crystal, everything that he needs to deal a certain amount of damage. But Sin, with the Queen's Wings, that might help them in the coming fights.
Oh, hopefully it does, because Psycho's going right in with an unstoppable force already, but he is getting taken down immediately. And with that, R7 goes into the securing these killing spree by having View taken out.
Nice. Nice for RRQ. I like that RRQ is trading out effectively, and they defended that inhibitor turret relatively well. Could have been cleaner since Cycle had to go down just the same. But there is one thing that alarmed me. One thing that says, oh, RRQ Hoshi, I think they know that they're on the ropes, is because almost all Tempest Blades in the past 2 or 3 team fights have been defensive. Right now, they want to pick this. Sin, oh, another defensive Tempest Blades going to be going back. And Flapdizi and Revo are here. They're dealing the damage. They're raining it down. That's going to be Ling taken down. Another looking for it. Oh, waiting. Come back. That's R7 now. And from the back, it's whisking. 3, 4, none. BREN Esports can go ahead and take this Free Lord second in the game. And from here, another penetration.
You can really see the easy connection. Once in, goes down for Claude. What Flap does is he goes around with the Black Dragon form, just targeting Sin, and Sin can't do much about that.
Yeah, they went in a little bit too early, if you ask me, because they went in for that engagement by the corners of the jungle, and there's nothing much to get out of it. They loosen in the process. This is just history repeating itself.
Oh.
And second Luminous Lord for the side of BREN Esports. I think they have got this game pretty much sealed.
Yep, Divine Glaive going over to R7, but check it out, Flapdizi just got his Sea Halberd now. Middle lane pushed in, Lord isn't even on the map just yet. Now, we have come from just building casual Deadly Blades into actually turning it into a full-on Sea Halberd, and that is just impressive. That just shows how much Flapdizi wants to really stop the regeneration and finish fights when they started, because I believe the next 1 or 2 team fights, but extend to that, could be the last.
Yeah, and looking at R7, they don't really have as much deaths. Whisking as well, so you really just have to stop them on their tracks. If they can stall out the game, make an important pickoff, make an important play, then that might be something that BREN Esports can lose from.
Yeah, speaking of losing stuff, they're already lost the top side of the turret.
Zananai.
You can definitely see that Min is absolutely cut out. That's how everyone needs to be at, but the Lord is already scored it, and Lusty is hunting for those kills. BREN Esports will definitely get this equalizer right here for the Philippines.
Sitting at 1-1.
Nag-live din siya?
You may
Ano yung live niya?
have been the herald of good news for many Filipino fans around the world of Mobile Legends and of BREN Esports.
Hindi, kahapon pa yata yun yan.
Just maybe, that game
Kagabi.
was all they needed to pick up the
Yung
pace.
sabay kami nag-live niya kagabi.
Yeah, well, it could be a download game. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really talked to them if they really like their download games, but it happens for some. And you can't really explain it, but if the tournament meta is not available or changes, these are the things that might happen to people. It's the first game curse, second game curse, third game curse. I don't know, but it happens.
Well, talk about warm-up games here. BREN looking much better. I definitely felt like there were...
We have not had any of that today.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. Yeah, that's why it was good, right?
Should have been Psycho. He should have been
Especially when he does have the cross.
first mate at the answer.
Yeah, and just looking at these boxes, it just gives a little bit of flashback of PTSD to some of those players that were actually facing off against that BREN Esports side yesterday, because this Baxa is so potent to just, get in the face of whether or not you have a choice, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, game-winning Baksha against Alter Ego yesterday, but yeah, RRQ Hoshi, each pick so far have been denial picks. They didn't need to ban them because they were planning to pick them up anyways.
Yeah. Remember, the first 2 picks here for the side of RRQ Hoshi, they rely so much on the lifesteal or the spell vamp that they have. So that means if you go and try to take the regeneration a bit down, tone it down a bit, that is gonna hurt their tanking capability in the long run. So this Baksha and Lancelot is just so good for the side of BREN Esports.
I mean, I think it's pretty great, especially when it comes to just the denial of health regeneration overall, especially when it comes to both Sylvana as well as the Yuzong, both pretty dependent on it. Both can abuse the Oracle. Both will look to get the Bloodlust Axe and the Concentrated Energy respectively. But BREN now banning out the Ling, forcing the question on are going to get something that scales in towards the late game, especially when you have someone like Carl Tizzy. He's got the Lancelot already.
BREN Esports, when they go for these kinds of Lancelot lineups, they don't necessarily try to go for a marksman side lane.
Oh.
But if it's a possibility and if they are forced, Rebo can use a 1-1.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Now, going into the second phase of picking, that was the Roger locked out. Oh, they're going to steal away the 1-1. RRQ, she read your line butters. 1-1 here for the side lane. Might be Wiz King, might be R7 now, BREN Esports. They're closing this up, and without wasting any time. Hold up! Double assassin, side lane Hayabusa.
Can I also call it like triple assassin in such a way, like looking?
Quadruple, technically. If you're looking at the game's descriptions, yeah, Matilda, Selena, interesting.
So they don't have a tank per se that's gonna roam early.
Okay.
Stay into the side lane.
All right. This is getting even more interesting.
All right.
We're finally seeing the Hellcurt coming into the picture, and this is actually magnificent.
Yo.
BREN Esports has a good draft, but RRQ Hoshi with just one pick, they just give a lot of, they just try to shut down. They try to shut down BREN Esports as much as possible. They pick Hellcurt, and that answers a lot on BREN Esports side.
I think this is some interesting adaptation. I don't necessarily believe it is going to work. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Hellcurt pick here. I do see that it is great in some situations, but when you have Matilda, and especially with the Circling Eagle, you can almost guarantee a lockdown in these in a lot of these points, and it's going to be who initiates first and who is going to be able to get their opponent preemptively, and that's going to be the name of the game. Who makes the first move?
I'm not even thinking about the farming situation. Like, how much gold do you need? And at what point will you say, okay, we're ready for these fights between these two teams that require so much across all their core heroes?
Oh, I don't know, but at least I don't have to think about it for now. You boys, you're going to have to take this one because this is too big for me to handle.
Okay, now, talking about ideation coming from the side of James, right? RQ Hoshi, what's great about the Hellcurt heading in towards the late game is not only diving in towards the back line, getting that catch, it's also about that split push. Like, he just gets so much movement speed when he pops in that Dark Knight Falls, just get across the map. Like, who's going to be able to catch him when you can't even see your enemy?
I agree, because seeing that 1-1 really likes the 1v1 duels as well, you can deny the vision of the 1-1 and just try to go for the duels on her side.
Yep, Lusty almost getting taken down there. I kind of get it. This is a roaming Matilda. It's going to be a Matilda that provides shields and relies on mobility to kind of weave in and out of combat like a tank, Natalia. As you know, hold up, Psycho uses the Cyclone Eye with just enough time. A defensive arrow here by a few. Real quick, let's rehash or remind people what lanings look like. It's going to be an XP lane Hayabusa. Ooh, Psycho, a little frisky, wanting to get in on Rebo's face. And then the XP lane is going to be, the gold lane is going to be the Baksha, facing off against the 1-1. An interesting matchup, but Lappy's able to bully Wiz King nonetheless.
Yeah, of course, he's going to be soaking a little bit of the poke, and he's got to be careful with the missile arrow coming in as well, because Wiz King, if he just gets caught out, okay.
Purify is safe. You got that cleanse.
Wait a minute. Yeah, she's taking the A.
Yeah, well, he does have the innate cleanse in his kit. So, RQ hits Vin. Vin here might go down.
Oh, Dark Knight Falls. That's going to be some darkness raining down on the BREN Esports, and they get the first blood. What a bait right there by Vin. No trades here by BREN Esports.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit troublesome for the likes of BREN Esports eventually when they are trying to go in for those sort of picks, which is what they are looking to set up, right? And here comes R7 already using the Black Dragon, crossing off towards Baptiste as well as Lusty. Not going to be making much use out of this. As you can see, their health bars is still pretty much way up high, but the Hayabusa now moves over on towards the other side lane, and it's going to be having a lot of great pushes.
What a mirrored swap there by BREN Esports and RQ Hoshi. Now this fight in mid. Here the turtle breaks out. Oh, the turtle at about 1/5 of health. That's going to be stolen here by Caldizi. And that's Lusty taken down here by R7. They're going to have to back out. Even Caldizi doesn't want any part of this. As Few gets caught in the middle of 3 members of RRQ. 3 for none is the final tally here, the body count for RRQ Hoshi.
The better trade went over to the side of RRQ.
This is to be expected because Rebo won't be part of any fights. But as long as they can keep Psycho at bay, do not get caught in the way of the Dragons, that is going to be fine for BREN Esports. RRQ Hoshi, they're doing a great job as well. They're contesting, they're getting the kills, the pickoffs. And now what's left is they should go for the turrets.
I think this is actually RQ's plan, right? Like, you really want the attention to be on Psycho as well as Vin instead of Sid or even R7 in that sort of sense. Which King kind of can self-sustain, especially when he does have the crossbow of Tang. So that's what they're hoping to pick up.
Oh, so an arrow here saves Lusty, and a nice takedown by Caldeezy on the Sid, and unthinkable has happened. We were talking about how it should have been Psycho, it should have been Vin, but yeah, they caught out Sin at the very right moment. Real quick note, ladies and gentlemen, Avarice onto that Sylvana. Nice way of the dragon here, catching Lusty. He survives. That's going to be the Thorn Rose pushing away Psycho and the gang.
That is the prowess of a Selena. Just throw out the arrow. If you hit the Hellcurt has no purify. That is going to be lands him down. And that is a lot of time. And this is the thing about Hellcurt that I didn't really like. But Vin!
What? Tortoise Poissons underneath the turret allows him to go deep, way too deep, and there you go. R7 can't even regenerate despite having full Shaw essence. And off camera, by the way, that was a kill by Rebo.
Those are the situations.
Sid.
But they're not done yet.
Butters, let Lusty finish. He's chasing down Sin. That's going to be the Cyclone Eye going through the wall underneath the turret, the safety of his side of the map. So far, Butters, Lusty says, okay, you can speak.
These are the things
After
that
you.
Baksha does. Like the dives that BREN Esports are doing now, it won't be possible without him.
Yeah, and those sort of catches were magnificent for BREN Esports because now they do have a little bit of activation, especially on Caldeezy. This is their key towards those game-winning trades, and just look at the amount of damage that he gets. So he was under the turret. It didn't mean much as he popped out the turret Passants, and the other members of BREN Esports could easily go into burst down with how could whenever he just appears on the wrong moment. And here comes Lusty pushing the back.
Oh no, that's going to be Dark Knight Falls, but it was just a little too late. There was no setup, no follow through. Lusty gets blasted down by R7. A trade for the support and your core. BREN Esports going off with a lottery.
Yeah. Just looking at how this sort of the jungler assassin meta is going, right? Of course, you can have the tier 1 picks coming in from the side of BREN Esports, and oh boy.
Psycho here just bumped into the Poissons underneath it. This hurts, this hurts. That's been taken down by Caldeezy as they steal away the turtle. The purple, that is, and the turret. You see, I get the words mixed up, but nonetheless, I'm liking what BREN Esports is bringing.
Rebo. Will the crossbow of Tang be thrown out?
It has been. That's whisking in the air. Pachoo, pachoo. That's Rebo taken down.
That's the sound of a bird with a gun.
Bird with a gun.
That's what whisking
Alright,
I'm pretty sure nobody wants to mess with a bird with a gun, but
We'll allow it, we'll allow it.
yeah. What's big news right here, you know, like, other than guns, what is pretty much lethal? Blades, and who's got the sharper blades right now? It's called Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Already having that blade, they have the C's being bought out. Sin really struggling to find his footing in this entirety of the match. Like, you got the Hayabusa, you got the Selena to deal with. After you get past that Baksha, it's honestly tough for him to choose from.
Oh, Vindo jumping in with the Imperial Justice, and R7 coming in with the Black Dragon form. You gonna use a Cyclone Eye, get out of here.
Whiz-King!
From the back, Whiz-King gets skewered by Caldeezy. The other Teasy brother takes down Psycho, and right now, the stickers come up. The fallen brothers of RRQ Hoshi. They have no choice but to accept this conversion from BREN Esports as they push.
This off-lane Baksha is just making waves. But instead of BREN Esports, he's controlling so much of this RRQ aggression.
Yeah, and just look at it from the drafting phase itself. It's like, okay, you can have the use on all you want, but remember this, I'm going to be activating what we can, and now we do have a little bit of a look at the itemization as the turret falls in favor of the side of BREN Esports. Now pressing onwards
Wala pa?
as he is being forced a little bit backwards.
Rebo is almost with in this battle. Sin is just getting the Legion swords, and probably a Blade of Despair in just.
Nakasit up na yun. Pag nag-open, direct na.
Does have
I-end lang tong match na to.
with the Heptasis.
Yep, and he's sitting at 5-0-3. This is the best we've seen Carl DZ today. This Lancelot is cleaner than the Claude he brought out. Now here is a in-game pause, real quick, a breather for everyone watching, and as well the players and us here at the caster's desk. All right, I think Gideon has been.
Nandyan na ba? Naka-live na?
How's the fight feeling so far?
Okay.
Hindi, ano na nga yan ay. Idugtong na lang yun. Okay na yan. I-sit up ko na after nito. Ay, sit up ko na after nito.
What's the difference between them and specifically Caltese for pulling it off? Because we've seen them actually knock down Alter Ego with this exact same pick. And to me, the mechanics seem solid for both sides, but I feel like it's not just Caltese who's making this work here. There is an outside factor.
It's all definitely going to be the boxer. You just look at him. He's all over the map. He's always protecting his teammates everywhere he goes. And
It's so easy for them to just move in and out, having so much mobility. I think he definitely plays a big factor in this match.
The thing is, the difference between Carl, DZ, Lancelot, and other Lancelot is the confidence. It's this confidence level to just go in and out of fight.
it's like, yeah.
Heroes.
BREN Esports!
I mean, Caltese, he's going in hard with the help of.
In Sports Phase 1, I'm expecting to see a boxer because the
in this battle than just
The last ban for Benny Sports. No wave players, no.
8 fades as well, so technically it's still just, slightly ahead.
yeah. And it all depends on who we see. Gets his income to a carry or a Claude.
And speaking of which, we're already seeing a lot of invades coming from the side of RRQ, while Leslie is trying to play that in your face chill, and definitely not the push that he wants to move in for, but Westgate trying to go for a catch.
He misses the Wrath of the Dryads, and that would have been a really nice catch if he was able to land that. But at least they buy a little bit of pressure to get this turtle. But can BREN capitalize on this here? You can see a lot of them.
Samuel ba yan, Oy?
Not to mention Boxy is coming in hot.
And this is a way to just catch Psycho and the others. They wanted to.
Down, he is so proud of his boys, and I can only understand and relate and sympathize with the feeling here because,
All the way in towards your frontliners.
Yeah?
That's definitely going to be open.
and allowing them to say, hey, make a mistake, face check me, I won't let you get away.
This is definitely very punishing because this might just costed them this final run right on the lower bracket. They're already pummeling down the base. That timer is already up. Psycho is going to be coming out of the base. But BREN, they could easily go on for this lore.
BREN now clearing the side waves first. They're trying to punish, trying to take away the economy. Again, and RRQ are realizing they are on a ticking clock here. They don't have a lot to work with. They're running out of resources on top of everything else. But can BREN close out this game here?
The Lord is now their target, and that's what they aim for. They get the extra help from the Lord. They know that ending play that they're gonna do. There are still outer turrets onto the top lane, Gideon Contra, and as you can see, BREN Esports knows that this is only the level 1 Lord, not the Luminous Lord.
Level 1 Lord or not, BREN wants to take this advantage and just really press down on the advantage even harder. And if this doesn't go well, at least at the worst, RRQ go even with BREN and it starts all over once more. But if BREN get ahead, they end game and they take this series and they go to the grand finals.
And now it's really relying on Sin so much that
Wala
they
po.
love all these
Natatapos ko lang.
There's going to be more massive
Meron na,
resistance
nakalive na.
coming towards this late phase. Yep, they're going to be clearing off the Lord.
Biglang lakas na yung mga
Going for the dive!
Oh, it's going really hard.
This is the first time that Indonesia is out of the Grand
Finals, BREN Esports.